Hi, we're at the Withlacoochee State Forest, still, day 2. We're camping. This is one of our favorite camping spots. We're on the Silver Lake side. We're staying at Crooked River this trip because it's close by. They don't take reservations, so we know we're always going to find a spot. And it's just, it's still a pristine area in amongst urban sprawl. We're at another one of our favorite spots. Hey there. We're at the abandoned Girl Scout camp, Withlacoochee Wilderness Camp. Thank you. And it's abandoned, and we're going to go check it out. We're going to go, first we're going to go over to the totem pole area. So we'll try to switch this back. There we go. Here we go. Let's go. So if my foot's falling asleep, does that mean I tied my shoes too tight? I think so. We hiked yesterday. We did the about 15 miles on the southern trail. Now we're in the northern tip. This area we're coming up into now I call the totem pole area. This would have been an area of, back in the day, of great industry and just movement, everything imaginable. Girls and women would have been just in hundreds and hundreds of them throughout this whole area. There would have been Girl Scouts from everywhere. This was primarily for Pasco, Hillsboro, and Pinellas, but they also did national events. So this is the totem pole area. This would have been the area where they would have had their primary campground, and this is an old cool pump. This is where they would have met and had their dinners and lunches and all that kind of stuff, and their meetings. There's buildings all throughout this area. This is obviously an old well. This started in the 60s. This was built and began in the 60s. Here's an old building that they would have, and you got to imagine, as with all these sites that we go to, this without all the trees, this would not have been as forested as it is now. This is an area that would have been completely clear. There would have been tents everywhere, and the tents back in the 60s would have been the old, basically canvas kind. They wouldn't have, if they invented nylon back in those days yet. Looks like somebody has mangled a gopher tortoise hole here, unfortunately. Somebody who hasn't yet been taught the proper respect for wildlife. Am I wrong in my memory, or wasn't the totem pole near? I thought so. And I keep saying totem pole without explaining it. What it was an old wire lath concrete totem pole that had once stood upright and is now on the ground. I thought it was right here. But the space seemed more open to me, and there was a building in the far corner of that space. Another building, like one of those concrete buildings. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm not wrong about the pump being there. All right, we're going to go take a look at the tree houses. I'm not sure, the women who camped here could tell you more about it. Or perhaps the lovely research assistant could tell us more about it, since she's been an 11-year Girl Scout camp, Girl Scout leader. But there was some sort of hierarchy where if you were, on top of that hierarchy, you were able to stay in the tents, the the tree houses, and if not, you were relegated to a tent on the ground. So I guess it was a special thing to be able to stay on in a tree house. And these tree houses are really cool. They're all dilapidated now. We're going to go check those out in a moment. I want to see if I can convince myself or confirm that I'm not losing what's left of my mind, that there is a open area called the totem pole area. Yeah, I think it's up here. And there's another area where we found the remains of bathhouses some years ago. Down near, okay, this is it. This is it. Okay, good. I'm not losing my mind. I still have it. Okay, cool. This is the totem pole area. Yep. Okay, this is the totem pole pedestal. This is what it sat on. And since we first discovered this place some years ago, the totem pole has become more destroyed than what it was. But this is the totem pole. Over the years since this was abandoned, this was used in the 60s and abandoned, I guess, in the 80s. Just like, and you can see the wire lad in here. Yeah, the wire lad that you would have used to base the concrete on. And there's some rebar holding it up. It would have attached to it. Yeah, so this would have been a center hub. I mean, obviously the totem pole had great significance. It was a place to meet around and to gather around. Found it. I wish that were true. Unfortunately, no, I don't have as many failures as I do successes. That would be depressing. Probably a 80% success rate, if not higher. Oh, that's what I started to mention earlier. You can hear voices. They're probably 100 yards away from here. There would have been a path to it from here, but that is where the bathhouses were. That's where they would have swum. And there's, you know, I've posted before and I've gotten comments back. There's recollections of that, of those days having taken place. And we've got a critter over here. Hey, Bren, got a critter over here. We got a critter. Yeah, it's not a squirrel either. Almost looked like a cat. I couldn't swear to it though. Straight dead ahead. Brown, like a tannish brown. The voices we hear now are not on this side of the river, they're on the other side of the river. For anyone familiar with this area, that is the River Junction recreational area on the other side over there. And people swim to this day over there. Now, I mean, I was born and raised in Florida. I've been all over the state. Well, not everywhere, of course, but a lot of different places. And I've never seen any place in Florida that I would swim in except for the ocean. But hey, more power to them. I'm glad they don't get eaten by alligators, but that would be definitely my concern. As much as I love alligators, I do not want to get eaten by one. Okay, here's an old building that they would have used for their stuff, you know, maybe even housing their tents, but they would have housed their equipment and everything in here. Who knows what they would have used in the 60s to camp with. Maybe grills or something, I don't know. This path here, we've been down this path right around that corner. There's the river. We're not going to go back there. We're going to, in fact, go the other way and go back over to the tree houses, which after the totem pole, because the totem pole fascinates me to no end, after the totem pole is the most fascinating feature of this site to me. I can just imagine all the people that would have spent the night there, all the girls that would have had conversations about whatever girls have conversations about over all the years that this place would have been open, and all the lives that would have been spent here in recreation and just getting away from the city, which obviously wasn't nearly as bad then as it is now, but still not good. Just a place to come, isolate themselves in the woods, and enjoy each other's company, build friendships, build relationships. And that's what these places mean to me. And I think I speak for Brenda when I say that as well. On, Bun. All right, we're going to assume she's down at the river and head over to the tree houses. Bren? You don't have to come. I'm gonna go over to the tree houses. I'm going over to the tree houses. I went to the river. Yeah, I was saying it was just right around the corner there. We've been down that path before. During the passage of time from the 60s till now, we've seen Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and other church groups and traditional values, things of that nature, shrink exponentially. This, where we're at now, was once part of the Suncoast Girl Scout Council, and now I understand that's been absorbed by a much bigger entity, a much broader in scope entity. What is it?
Council, but they just, put them together.
Consolidated?
Thank you.
Because of why?
I think money.
And lack of
enrollment.
And during your time as spending 11 years as a Girl Scout leader, group leader, troop leader, I think they call them. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was your favorite camp out spot?
If you want to camp in a teepee, it would be Indian Echo or a tree house.
Right. Okay. Does Indian Echo still exist?
Yes.
And where's that?
Hudson.
Nice.
And Wailani's nice because it's right on the water, on the bay, the Gulf. And Camp Dorothy Thomas was nice because it was an old-time Girl Scout camp.
And where's Camp Dorothy Thomas? Riverview. Cool. What was that like? Was that like this, or was that more like Camp Wailani? In terms of, was it open, forested?
Open.
Nice.
Open forested.
Were there, during the time that you went, what was the most amount? How many people at the most at any one time?
So, Wailani could be, Camp Dorothy Thomas could be, 100.
Cool.
And Wailani would have maybe been 50, 75.
Was that on a rotating in and out basis, like
You had to
100
make
one week and 100?
reservations.
Okay, so it would have
So
been
whoever wanted to go and when they wanted to go and
cool.
all that.
So it would have been full at any one time, all the time,
Pretty
basically.
much.
Neat.
Pretty
What
much.
would those Girl Scouts have come from all over?
Yes, all over the council. And then if you wanted to go to an out of council camp, you know, you had to apply to do that
Neat.
around the state. or
Cool
the
stuff.
country.
Cool stuff. So that gives you an idea of how many people there were involved in Girl Scouts back in the day. It's not as popular a thing. I imagine the women who grew up as Girl Scouts would be more likely to have their children be Girl Scouts because of the positive experiences they had. And of course, you know, your experience, just like if you're playing youth sports, your experience is directly tied to the leader, whoever the coach is, or the troop leader or whatever it might be. Those are the people that inspire you to continue it on. Or in negative cases, as in coaching, we see a lot frequently. It would turn you away from it. You wouldn't want your child to have the same experience you had because you had some freakazoid for a coach who's always yelling, screaming, and kicking and fussing. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're a youth leader of any kind, remember your actions, every single one of your actions, directly impact for life the children under your charge. All right, and now we're going back up through. Coming from the totem pole area to treehouse area. Treehouse is right over there. I'm doing better this time, I think. Last two times I was out here, I had a hard time finding the tree houses. But I found one earlier before I started filming, so I'm hoping I'm going back the right way. And I'm not, am I? No, they're further over on the other side. Okay, we're going to go back this way. I think there were 7 or 8 of them. I forget. The last time I was out here, I did a video on it, and there were a bunch of them. But there weren't like hundreds of them. Imagine these things were fairly expensive to build and certainly to maintain. Here we are. This is another one of those buildings where they probably would have cooked food. They might have had a picnic table under there. Would have been there for sure if it was raining. They would have had meetings in it, that sort of thing. Okay, we're gonna go back into my favorite area because this just screams of history and where people gathered and enjoyed themselves. There's a camp. There's one there. It's a loop. This is a loop, so we're going to take the hot tire loop tour. Some of these are in better condition than others. It's a piece of something. Might have been a bridge. This is a lower area. It might have been a bridge across this path. I'm not sure. I wonder how many people out there have pictures from this time. And there's so few pictures on the internet. I wish more were shared and saved. So this is a telephone pole. And I mean, from a construction standpoint, it's a telephone pole buried deep in the ground, sticking way up in the air. And I'm not sure if there would have been rope ladders or how that would have worked to get up in there. I don't see anywhere in here where there was fencing. Oh, that one's dilapidated. updated a lot more since the last time I was here. A lot more. So I don't know if there was like stairs, like a ladder, just a straight up ladder they brought out. And we don't know why for sure what the leaders were thinking in terms of putting these tree houses up. There's been speculation that it was due to hogs. I think not. I don't go with that one because what are you going to do with the other 100 people that are on the ground in tents? It's just not feasible. I think this was just a cool little neat experience that you would have been offered. So, Brenda, do you recall what the qualifications were for sleeping in one of these?
You got to be a certain age. I forget what it was.
Certain age. Okay. Also, was it okay? Cool. So it was an age thing, which I guess makes sense. You wouldn't send a 6 or 5 or 4 or even 8-year-old up there to fall and trip and break something.
What the ones that Indianapolis looked like.
Right.
Just new.
They've been maintained. Okay. Or they've been either
And
that
they're
or
bigger,
replaced.
They're larger than this.
Are they on
Little bit.
one pole?
Yes.
Nice.
Exactly.
Nice.
And there's a door, you pull it behind you.
Well, I noticed this lock on the outside here. I didn't notice that the last time I was here, but it's almost like you would get locked
Pull it
in.
up, well, because you didn't want anybody to fall through.
Right,
I
absolutely.
guess it must have gone down. I can't remember.
Right. Were you guys ever in one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Neat. Very cool. Very cool. Would it fit your whole troop or what?
24 girls
So,
up there.
what would decide that? So you would be up there, and then maybe like Shannon or Sarah would have been over in a tent somewhere, and then you and Michelle would have been.
The leaders always slept separate from the girls.
Oh,
The
so
girls
I see. So the leaders would have been the
we
ones
had
to
our
sleep
own-
up in there.
No, the girls were here and the leaders were somewhere else.
Okay.
Or because the part of the
Cool.
point was for the girls to be away
Right.
from, on their own.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. I was saying earlier that I thought every time I come here, I feel like this would have been such a neat place for girls just to come and do their girl things, talk and talk about life and
Exactly.
boys and school and everything, and just kind of get away from all the stuff.
And then go swimming in alligator infested.
Yeah. That wouldn't work for me, but I don't know why alligators didn't attack more often. I don't get that. Hey, there's another cedar tree. That's a younger one. That's really nice. Okay, so we're going around the loop. We're at the apex of the loop. We've passed 2. We've got 3 or 4 ahead of us. Possibly more. This one's seriously dilapidated, but not as bad as... There's a couple up here that are just the poles sitting up there, and that's it. So it's a real treat to see these things, but it's also a real treat to be accompanied by an 11-year veteran of the Girl Scouts. A devoted Girl Scout troop leader who not only took care of her own kids within the troop, but made sure all the other kids could have everything that they were supposed to have. I think on one of these there's like Josie loves Billy or something. I forget. I saw something written on one of these at one time. And who knows if it was written, years later or if it was written at that point. Here's the one. Another one on the outside. This is one of the ones I was talking about. This is completely, there's nothing left but the pole. And that is a testimony to the creosote that the pole is soaked with, that it would still be standing. So someone built this in the 1960s and is still standing today. And the pole was still good. I bet you could still climb that pole and use that pole. Because creosote keeps rot away, it keeps the bugs away. Nice, very, very cool. Very, very cool. So that's what, 7, there's 5, 6, I think that's 5. So I thought there's like 6 or 7 or 8 of these things. There's a couple more up here, I'm pretty sure. here's one more. So maybe that's all there is. Maybe there were 6 of them. Yeah, okay, I guess we got 6. Completely dilapidated, no roof, no anything. So this is the Withlacoochee Wilderness Camp, Girl Scouts of America camp. This is the treehouse portion. We're not going to go all the way out to see the bathhouses. That would take about 15-20 minutes to walk back around. I mean, through the forest it wouldn't take that long, but through the trail. And we've actually done a video on that before, just that particular area. So that's the loop. So the girls would have been sent in here by themselves. I don't know, 12, 14, 15, whatever. I don't think they take them much older than that. And the leaders and all the littler girls, whomever else was up in here, would have been scattered throughout this area in a tent, in tents. So we saw the totem pole area, the pump, the well area, and this, and a couple of these old buildings. It's an amazing spot, amazing part of the forest. Sadly, all that are left here are memories. Say bye-bye to the people, honey.
Goodbye.